the fighting never stopped, and I can tell you that NATO, essentially what the North Atlantic Treaty Organization did in the state of Libya was carpet bomb the country. They carpet bombed the cities to the west of Tripoli, such as Zawiya and Sirman, and they carpet bombed Tripoli and whole residential areas in Tripoli. Their deliberate tactic was to create a humanitarian disaster and to militarily clear the way without any humanitarian regard, without any regard for human life, without any regard for the citizens of Libya. They bombed whole neighborhoods. They bombed hospitals. There was intensive bombing. And what they did is they landed insurgent forces on the Mediterranean coast in the harbor. And there were a lot of foreign forces with them, because I spoke to people fighting who were coming back and forth from the battles, and they were talking about Qatari soldiers, and they were talking about soldiers from the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, and other Gulf Cooperation Council states. Those are the petro monarchies of the Persian Gulf. And they were all involved there, and there was mercenaries as well. And the fighting took place after the bombings. The bombings were extreme. They were never stopped. There was no stopping. The NATO did not stop bombing for days. It was intense, but there was intense bombing. And what they did manage to do is they managed to get some people to defect, because there was a psychological war going on as well to make it sound like the regime was going to fall and that Tripoli was going to collapse. So they used every dimension of the psychological war, including the media, to create fear, which created a state of panic, and it also traumatized the local population, and it caused a lot of people to defect. Not a lot, but it did cause quite a fair number of people to defect or to remain neutral and seated in their homes. But they were unhappy. A lot of people did not want to fight. And then what happened is the insurgents came in through the west. This all started in the west. One military commander in the Western Mountains defected. When he defected, he ordered his forces to leave the highway in the Western Mountains. This opened the door towards the northern coast, and this is how things occurred in Zawiya and Sirman. And from there, everything went into a spiral. But I can tell you right now, up to the last minute when I was in Tripoli, Green Square, or now as it's called Martyrs Square, there was still fighting there, and we could see it from our boat when I was being evacuated with an international group, which included Ukrainian, Romanian, Serbian, Russian, British, French, Dutch, and Algerian nationals. When we were being evacuated, we could still see the fighting. There's a lot of fighting in Tripoli, and amongst the transitional council forces, the so-called rebels, they're still fighting. They fought in my hotel, which is the Radisson Blue Al-Mahari, which is next to the harbor on the Mediterranean coast of Tripoli near Al-Fatah Street. They were fighting in there, and that hotel has been turned into a center for interrogations, which I believe is run by the United States. They're interrogating people there. I've been told that people are being shot in the rooms during the interrogations. I was told this by Libyans. So a police state is coming into formation, and hospitals have been abandoned. I was told by recently that 2 hospitals near a friend's home, the patients were left for dead. So NATO deliberately attacked the electricity, the water, and anything civilian as part of the siege against Tripoli. Not only Tripoli, other cities like Sirte, the same thing is going on, and in Fezzan in the south, the same thing is going on. They've attacked all civilian infrastructure in these areas, and this was part of the war. This is not a humanitarian war whatsoever, because they have deliberately created a humanitarian crisis in Libya, and now they're admitting it. But they're the ones who deliberately did it, and they should be held accountable for war crimes.